Understanding when a paradigm shift has taken place is a real important key to being successful. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and we inspire. And I want to talk to you today about paradigm shifts in society. And one of the things that we've talked about in the past is that it's important to have a mentor because a mentor has experience. And experience will give you, when you're learning, some good judgment. But we also pointed out that good judgment comes mostly from bad judgment, something that somebody's tried and they realize that's not going to work. So now they've done something different, and now that makes that good judgment. That's what experience is taking the bad stuff, getting rid of it, and inserting the good stuff and passing it along. That's what a good mentor will do for you. That's what I want to do for you today. I want to point out to you that paradigm shifts happen frequently, not super frequently, but they happen frequently, and you have to be able to spot them and you have to be able to act on them. I want to give you a couple of examples. Years ago, I worked with a company called Copa, and they had a tremendous system. The system essentially was we would go out, we would knock on doors, and we'd get into people's homes, and we'd talk to them about saving money for their future, as little as $10 a week. And most people are such poor savers, and they do want to save, but they had a difficult time doing it. We were able to unlock for them a method where they could set aside as little, like we said, as $10 a week, and get that process started and see some results because of the magic of compound interest. Okay, it was a very, very good system. And that was something that Bob Anderson, my main mentor, taught not only me, but the people in the company. We worked his system. And then, all of a sudden, that system stopped working. I was the manager and divisional vice president of an office in Indianapolis and also in Detroit. And my people, their production started to go way down. And so, at some urging from Mr. Anderson, he said, get your butt out in the field and find out what's going on. So I went out in the field, and in the past I used to have absolutely no difficulty writing business, but now when I went out in the field, it was a real challenge. I had to work super extra hard to get something, and something that I couldn't do, how could I ask people in my office to do, and I didn't have the answer as to why we were not able to get into the people's homes. That was the monkey wrench. All right, in the past we were able to get into their homes and sit down and talk with them, but if you can't get into the home, you can't talk, you can't sell, you can't help people, and you can't make money. So this was the issue that we were facing, and ultimately it led to me leaving that company because I couldn't justify for myself asking people to do something that I couldn't do. Leaders do that, by the way. All right, so my point is, what was wrong? Well, there was a paradigm shift in society. And what was the paradigm shift in society? Well, it has to do with people not being comfortable letting somebody knocking on their door come into their house. And at that particular time, one of the things that was all over the news were things like terrorists taking over planes. There were people going into people. There was the post office. That was, you know what? That was the one that really got people's attention. I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, somebody going postal. But there were postal workers that were getting all upset, that were going into post offices and committing some heinous acts with weapons, killing people, so on and so forth. And these were making the news time after time after time. And so people started to have a different mindset. They started to be fearful because what they thought at one time was safe, you know, going in the workplace. I mean, you don't think you're going into the workplace and saying, boy, I'm going to be risking my life here I am going into the workplace, and their mindset changed that their safety was at risk. That was the reason why we were not able to get into people's houses. Now, I didn't realize that at the time, but upon reflection, I realized it, and I saw it happen. As an example, at that time, I was in the Midwest, which is a more, shall we say, conservative area of the country than, let's say, California. Now, when I was in California, California was the perfect place, especially where I was in San Jose. Big companies would try out their new products in San Jose. Why? Well, at that time, and people are still moving to California, but at that time there was a tremendous movement of people from the East, from the Midwest, from wherever, to move to California. That was the promised land. That was the dream of many people. I, among them, I was one of those people myself. I always wanted to move to California. The point is that people that pick up and leave something that's established on, let's say, the East Coast, and they move to California, these people are more open-minded. So when you have a new product, one of the things you want to do is present them to people that are open-minded, because they'll listen to what you have to say, and it puts you in a better position to sell. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Do you see why some of our top offices were in California? They were also in Washington, on the West Coast. Now, some of the offices we had that were in the Midwest, they did pretty well, but not quite as well as the offices that we had where people were moving from where they had grown up to live someplace else. Places like Texas did very well. Places like California did very well. Okay? So there was a paradigm shift about the safety of allowing people into your home. And it's first reared its, in my particular case, ugly head in the Midwest, and ultimately it spread throughout the entire country. And right now, stop and think about it. Are you comfortable letting somebody you don't know into your home? Years ago, people were much more comfortable doing that. That's why that particular business started to wane. What we should have done is put our heads together, because we had some very, very smart people, and figured out a way to overcome that particular obstacle, that roadblock, and then we would have been able to do more business. But we didn't do that, and ultimately that portion of the business waned significantly, so much so that they went from 25 offices down to 0 offices. So you get my point. There was a paradigm shift in thought. So what's my point for today? Well, we have a new paradigm shift that's been accelerated by this pandemic. And it was something that was happening anyway. But this pandemic has lit a fuse under this mindset change. So I want to make you clear on it so that you'll see it, and give you a couple of examples. All right, having worked in a library, what's the story with the library? Well, the library is a place people come, they get information, and they're able to work with it. You know, when I was a kid, we went there because all the encyclopedias were there. Who has encyclopedias now? Nobody. All right, but the point is, there's all sorts of reference materials, information there, books there, fiction, nonfiction, you know, things that you go and you physically hold in your hand to advance what it is you're looking to advance, whether you're trying to entertain yourself with a nice novel, or whether you're looking to do some research for your business, or a paper for school, or whatever. So that is the framework of the library. Here's the problem. Times have changed. How many people don't have a computer, or at least have access to the internet right now? I mean, that's one of the more basic things that everybody has, so they have access. So why do I need to go to the library to gain information when I can just Google it, as an example, and get the information just like that? I don't need to. So what's happening at the library is fewer and fewer and fewer people are coming in. They have computers there now, but that's for the people that don't have computers at home, And for the most part, those are people that, don't have a lot of money. So the main body of customers are people that are, shall we say, not that well to do. They go there because, and when you, excuse me, when they go into their use of computer, most of the time, what they're doing is distracting things. They're playing chess on the computer, they're playing games on the computer, That's my point. It's like, so what the library, what it was intended to do, the function it was intended to perform, is starting to diminish in a great way. So what has this pandemic got to do with it? Well, you've already seen that businesses like Walmart, like Target, like virtually every business has an online presence. People are shifting from going into a brick and mortar store and focusing more on the convenience of doing their shopping from home. I mean, you don't even have to get up. What you do is you go and they deliver it to your house. How easy is that? The point is that we need to recognize, especially with this pandemic where now people are working from home whenever they possibly can, that there's been a paradigm shift. Instead of doing things in person, things are being done over the computer, from Zoom calls to gathering information to sales to everything, quite frankly. So if you don't recognize that there's been a paradigm shift from doing things in person to doing things on the computer, what's going to happen to your business? Once again, let me use the library as an example. One of the things that they also have at the library, in addition to information and books and videos now, things that you can get, is they also do programs. Now, one of the functions of a library is to give out information. Duh. All right? So what should the library be focusing on now? Well, you still need to keep your brick and mortar building because there are certain people that are going to come in and do that. But right now, if you want to serve the community in a better way, you need to make that information more available to people through the use of the internet. Now already books are, you can get books online. You don't even have to leave your house. You can just say, this is the book I want. Boom, there's the book. It's on your tablet or whatever they call these things. I'm not super technologically smart, but you can read these books right on your computer, right on your tablet. So what should the library be doing? What the library should be doing is taking individual skills that people need to learn, like learning a language, learning how to do sign language, personal development, car repair. I mean, the list is endless of things, and making videos about performing those particular functions. That will serve the community better than just having a brick and mortar. And the point is, who knows which videos are the ones that are going to be popular? I mean, could anyone have predicted that the Cabbage Patch doll was going to be a bestseller? You don't even remember what the Cabbage Patch doll is now, but years ago, you couldn't even get a hold of a Cabbage Patch doll. That was the number one gift for Christmas, was a Cabbage Patch doll, this ugly little doll that people wanted to get. The point is, you don't know what's going to be popular. So what do? You try everything. You got a dartboard up there, and you take your darts and you throw it at the dartboard, and you don't know which ones are going to hit the bullseye. But if you have a number of them, you will see that some of them do. And the ones that hit the bullseye, guess what you do? You make more videos in that particular arena. Here's my point. You as an individual have to recognize that there has been a paradigm shift. I realized that like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, you just take a look at the websites for these big companies, you see that they recognized it. But right now, it's exploding because of this pandemic. People don't want to be in physical company of other people for medical reasons. The point is, you as an individual, when you're making your plans, when you're dreaming your dreams, when you're trying to reach other people, make sure that you recognize this paradigm shift has taken place and make your plans accordingly. That is a key thing. So we've had that paradigm shift. Other examples of paradigm shifts, I mean, years ago everybody had bell bottoms and paisley shirts. Do you see those anymore? That was the fashion statement to make. Paradigm shifts happen. They happen gradually, and then boom, it's like falling off a cliff. You don't see it anymore. That's what happened with the offices in Copa. My offices in the Midwest were the first to feel it, and it was gradual. And then all of a sudden, all of the other offices were feeling the same thing that I was feeling. The business went way down. So paradigm shifts happen on a gradual basis, but once they take place, it's like falling off a cliff. You don't go back to where it was. And we are in just such a state right now with people using the internet and not doing things in person. So when you're making your plans, make sure that you take this into consideration. And because we'll never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's get out there and take charge. I'm Eli's dad.